Oh, right. Welcome, dear all, to twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. This is Stammer stream, suddenly in video. Let's see if it makes my stammering more or less awkward. I'm your webcam host, Wensleydale Cheddar, here alongside your non-webcam hosts, Kastor UK, Grail9, and Dr. Nova. How are you guys doing this week?
Pretty good.
Likewise. Finally managed to complete XCOM 2.
I'm at a cross.
And how was it? How did Captain Eyebrows fare?
Well, you died.
Aww. Okay then.
Aw,
man.
Well, bye everybody.
Bye.
Yep.
I'm at a cross.
Just combination of criticals which will make you rage. But hey, you were still in spirit through Viking's new weapon, Kevlar. Yeah, well, I love that you can even name the weapons in that one.
Yeah.
It might seem like a small thing, but it's that kind of emergent storytelling where stories come out of scenarios and your own actions, not just what the developers have already predetermined.
I used to do that with the Fire Emblem games. Half to essentially label who I was giving which weapons to, and I was switching them in and out, and half to just to tell stupid jokes.
Yeah, for me, I've just come back from a long time working outside the city, and I've returned to find that a bunch of games have come out since I've returned, and I'm too broke to get almost all of them.
Oh.
So I'm just kind of slowly weighing the merits of all of them and saying, okay, here's one I can get now, and all the other ones I can get in December, maybe? We'll see.
How's been your work with kids, by the way? Because I'm asking because during the week I've mentioned this before. During the week I've been attending a training course for my new job. I'm going to be teaching English to children using the Helen Duron method. And during my course, I've received feedback that the way I act may be too scary for younger kids, especially since I have a beard. So, Jonah, as someone
creeping up behind them and doing Dracula laughs.
So, Jonah, as someone who also has a scary beard and works in childcare, have you an experience in working with 4-year-olds and below?
Yes. Sometimes they cry when they see me. They think that's a joke. That actually happened at one point. But I find it works well. You just smile a lot, talk in a very assuring voice. At camp, I think what helped is for one of the activities I was running, I had to hide a bunch of stuffed animals around camp. And then after the activity was over, I just kind of kept them for the rest of the summer. So I've learned that if you have a life-sized Turtwig doll, people are often more likely to think that you're less terrifying.
That's adorable.
Oh yes.
That is a shame because they told me at my training course that I couldn't use Pokemon during my lessons. So yeah.
What?
How remarkably
What's wrong with them?
I don't know that they're not part of the Helen Duron canon. So yeah.
Well, that's weird actually, because this September I'm doing a PGCE also for teaching.
Okay.
So we're all teaching. I also may not be able to use Pokemon, as I'm going to be teaching chemistry, and the elements charts don't really match up.
Oh.
Darn.
So, I was going to ask, and then dragon type beats only dragon because anyone knows?
Potassium children.
because dragons are super special awesome, as we know, as seen on the periodic table.
But then we brought in the fairy types, or as we call them, the noble gases, and nothing can beat them because no one knows how they work and what's effective against them.
And then the rock types, which is
all of them.
And then that other poison types, which of course are like the triple digits, as we all know.
Yeah. All the radioactive ones.
Exactly, all the radioactive ones.
And then we've got all the metal elements, which are what's a good type analogy for this? One of you's meant to say metal.
Oh, natural elements other than metal won't do shit against them. So you're SOL.
There isn't even a metal element. There's, I mean, okay. There's just a steel type in Pokemon.
That's true. So
and other types of metal apparently
alloys.
And other types of metal apparently just are just under this big umbrella term.
Yeah. There's only steel in the Pokemon universe. They've discovered no other metals.
So speaking of metal, what has metal in it? Okay, One Piece has swords. Speaking of which, One Piece.
Wow.
Yeah. So shall we move on to the reviews?
Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
So I believe this week we're trying a new review, which means we're not talking for 10 minutes as we go through every single chapter in turn, because we all know everyone's read, especially One Piece, everyone's read it already. So we're going to be talking about, I believe it was One Piece 875?
Yes, that's the chapter.
The one that starts with Bartolomeo burning down Shanks' flag and ends with me pulling my hair out.
Oh.
Yeah, I do kind of think it's funny that Bartolomeo burns the flag of Luffy's greatest idol.
It was
without
great.
knowing. Like, can you imagine if Luffy ever found out and got pissed without knowing it was Bartolomeo?
Well, I think what's going to happen is that because all cover story stuff come back from major reveals later, is that Shanks is going to get pissed at Luffy. They're setting up a antagonistic relation. A possible antagonistic relationship for them.
I mean,
by
really?
Bartolomeo be fanboy.
Really? That's what they're gonna fight over? It's not gonna be an honorable duel of great warriors of the sea fighting to prove Luffy's strength against his former mentor. It's just okay. So your subordinates kind of ransacked my island. So yeah, I guess you're going to pay Luffy.
It's going to be I think it's going to be exactly that, but really, really petty, because we've both seen both of them, and we both know they would have a massive fight over something really stupid.
Luffy, all your friends are assholes.
I'm not sure Shanks would. I mean, Shanks hasn't struck me as a petty type.
True, but it's not the petty type. But he's been shown to react weirdly to different things. Also, I think as a warlord, he can't let someone burning down his flag go unpunished. Otherwise, he sort of the flag as protection means nothing. Also, this front page has a problem I've had with this chapter in particular, and a couple of chapters of One Piece recently. The art's gotten really sketchy. If you have a look at Shanks' flag, it looks like Biro occasionally.
Let me see it.
I will say
it's hard to tell since it's on fire, but
I will say the art does seem a little less dynamic.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether or not that might be a byproduct of just the way that Whole Cake Island has been drawn in general. Just the fact that it's all been very a little goofier, a little different. So I'm not entirely sure that it could just be the stylistic change. It is a bit of a hard to flip. I feel like once we get to Wano, where everything is going to be a lot more dynamic and a lot more reminiscent of the traditional Japanese art style, I feel like we might see the switch again.
Well, we also saw this at the end of Dressrosa, the art dropping, and it does occur throughout the chapter. If you look at page 3, it's probably page 3. So the middle panel is Sanji kicking a tree, and it's very sketchy. Whereas above it, you've got this lovely image of the whispering of the woods. And I'm wondering if, as Oda's getting older, he's getting arc fatigue, and just doesn't have the time or energy to keep up to the pace when he gets to the end of arcs nowadays.
Yeah, I guess so, especially since his style is has a lot of detail in its very core. So, so when you add a lot of detail, then it's a lot more time consuming. Speaking of which, this cover image from. There we go. This cover image from Black Clover I did in basically 10 minutes before the stream.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So-
maybe you should actually talk about the chapter itself.
No, just the cover image.
No, only the cover. Okay, so
And
essentially,
art.
so yeah, the chapter is essentially everyone's still running away from Big Mom, which is kind of cool because they are. Well, it depends. We have been running away from Big Mom for a while now, but it's kind of cool because we start off with Nami doing something, because I do like the way that she's actually got agency in this arc, because she's still feeding Zeus, the thundercloud, her eggs.
Yeah.
And of course, it comes around to the. I'm sorry, I was skipping through the chapter and saw the page of Luffy punching the sun, and I'd forgotten how amazing stupid that is.
Sometimes you gotta punch the sun, man.
It must be stronger than a Logia type.
Well, he has armament hackied his hands.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, I do like that Jinbei essentially jumps in the water and says, "No, this is how you do it. Here's a massive pile of water."
Armament hockey does not apply to the concept of fire. You might be out of luck.
Well, yeah, in this case, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can't punch out a fire.
You can try.
You can try. You're obviously not punching hard enough.
Not with that attitude, you can't.
But yeah, though of course the big twist in this chapter is later on, where out of nowhere Zeus just sneaks up on Nami and just, I get the impression, sucks all of the weather eggs out of her Climatact and becomes this unholy abomination in the sky. But zaps Big Mom with the world's biggest thunderbolt that essentially destroys the entire Whispering Woods.
I mean, who would have expected that Nami, of all people, would have the single biggest attack in the whole arc?
That is kind of true.
It is pretty cool that Nami gets to do that awesome thing of just smashing a giant thunderbolt on Big Mom.
I have loved the way Nami's been used in this arc, because up until recently she was my least favourite Straw Hat because she had not done anything for about 20 years. 17. I've just realised that One Piece only just hit its 20th anniversary.
I was like, she just didn't exist up until this point?
Yeah. Okay, my line is Alabaster, and then she did nothing else after Miss Doublefinger. But
She fought Khalifa.
that was a weird fan servicey fight. It wasn't great.
Okay, she navigated the Going Merry up to Skypiea, so I think that's, since that's what basically she does, I think that's kind of a big point.
Yeah, yes, but it's the problem that in every arc, we saw it in Fishman Island. All the men got a big fight. The women didn't.
Yeah.
But Nami got some good character development, considering that arc also involved Arlong's
Anyway,
past.
so what I really liked about this chapter, not One Piece as a whole, was...
Yeah, no, I like... Do we want to talk about the ending yet, or shall I save that?
I want to
Let's just go over the fact that... You go first.
Okay, I wanted to talk a bit more about Nami, because not only did she zap Big Mom, she also weakened one of her three commanders, and she used her, and she constantly was using her manipulation throughout the arc, which has been a long since established part of her character, and it wasn't really used a lot. Since I think Thriller Bark.
Yeah. No, I agree. She's not a powerhouse character, but she's been really influential in this arc, and it's been really nice to see.
Yeah.
I really hope this continues and it's not just because the party split. Actually, what I really want to see is the same approach given to Robin, possibly when we follow the other half going to Wano.
Yeah.
But no, we also see a quite cool scene of Brooke and Chopper not only facing down two of Big Mum's commanders. Actually, was Prospero one of the commanders, or was he just the first son?
No, he's the first son, but I think he's one of the most important. He's one of the most important siblings.
Below
yeah.
them, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they literally they get told everyone's dead. Did you see the Thunderbolts? They just say, "No, we're not going to back down." It's a cool moment, and also another great moment for two characters that before this arc were kind of lacking in cool stuff to do.
Yeah. Especially now that Sanji is preoccupied with something else, and Zoro is miles away, and now characters such as Brooke and Chopper, who incidentally are the oldest and the youngest members of the Straw Hats, and now they get to shine. So yeah, props for that moment.
Yeah, and then we get the ending, which is, I've got to say, I do quite like Chiffron in this.
Yeah. In
that she's actually been given a character through this arc, because beforehand I was like, oh, this is Lola's sister.
She's been amazing throughout the arc. I mean, she had one of the most tragic backstories revealed as if it were nothing, then stood up to her mother and took action that was independent of her husband, which is great. And she honestly took a major role in the arc, making her one of the standout characters.
I did love her in this chapter because I think she has because she has the line of, she leaves Beige with "take care of our son."
Mm-hmm.
She's going thinking she might die, and that's not a characteristic Oden normally gives to his female cast.
Yeah,
she's been really cool, and then Pudding's flip-flopped again and got insane. I have no idea what's going on here.
I actually do, since new chapter already dropped its scanlation.
So do I. I'm pretending.
I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt and hope that there's some form of vaguely amusing twist to this, but I don't know how to feel about it at all right now.
I've seen a spoiler panel from tweeted from Teching 101, and yeah, it could go well, but
no spoilers. Let's draw the line, because if we go into spoilers, I'm going to ruin the entire thing.
No. We're
yeah, let's not go spoilers and just discuss what this is.
Yeah, because thinking back to how I felt when I read the end of this chapter last week, I was just like, I have no idea what you're doing. Well, okay, she's gone back to evil again. I have no idea what's going on. And my reaction was, okay, I'm just going to put a pin in this and come back to this at the end of the arc and figure out how I feel.
Yeah, so expect a big rant from Kastor whenever Whole Cake Island ends.
Excellent.
So, by the way, does Zeus essentially have a food gasm when he becomes black? Speaking of which, Food Wars!
Goody.
That's a segue.
That is a segue.
Or do you? Does anyone else want to discuss something from One Piece?
Yeah,
I'm good.
Not really. It was just kind of chapter of even more running.
Yeah.
Which I could. Yeah, I think we need. Yeah, no, I'll save my thoughts for next week, because my thoughts are more on next week at the moment. So yeah.
Okay, so Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 227. So,
I was so sure I was reading Dojin halfway through this chapter. Yeah, it got it. To its credit, it played it very well, and actually, the connotations it carried with it worked with the writing. But I was just like, I'm really glad no one's watching me read this.
I'm confused a little. So do we still do the tiny little summaries that we used to do at the beginning of Summer Stream?
I think we were just going to, because essentially our 30-second ones just have evolved into the half an hour ones we ended up doing. So I think we're just assuming everyone's read the chapter and just talk about the bits we want to.
Yeah, so yeah, the result is something all of us expected and all of us were fine with, but
They managed to make us doubt.
Eh?
Yeah, that's the most important, that you think they might, at least one of them might have a chance, but still, all of them 0 to 1, so...
Subaru had no chance, because he literally pulled out, this is my ultimate technique, nothing can beat it, and just like, if this wins, you won the entire competition, so you cannot win this fight.
But I'd say Subaru was maybe one of the ones with the best chance, considering his opponent was the one with least importance. I mean, we knew Tsukasa was not gonna lose in his first match, and Rindo is kind of a breakout character, so she's probably gonna get more time.
I did love that. I love, though, you know, who was the fifth? Was it the fifth seat? Was the baseball cap person that we never saw?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. She
No,
had so little impression.
They got wharfed so hard for the guy that got wharfed so hard to make Rindo look cool. It's like that moment. Do you remember in Bleach when Zaraki killed 3 people, so that when Yuhabok beat him off panel, it looked impressive?
Yeah, that was really stupid.
And that guy in the baseball cap was an even worse version than them, because those guys got names and powers.
Yeah, except in Kenpachi's case, it's kind of pointless since we know he's a powerhouse, and yeah, with Megishima and Rindo, we haven't seen anything from them up until this fight, so I guess yeah, I still don't like that we haven't seen their match, but I think it's kind of obvious that that Tsukuda Sensei might be getting rushed again. I'm a little disappointed about the way the results were presented, because
what?
Really?
yeah,
Actually,
I actually am.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was disappointed mostly because it seemed to make it all about Soma. I mean, we didn't see Kuga react to it, or Megishima, or, well, who really cares about Mimasaka, but Kuga's match especially should have shown how he reacts to losing to Tsukasa like that.
Well, to be fair, we still might. We haven't, I assume we'll get all of that next chapter. I think my issue with this is less that we don't see the reactions of the people as much, but I feel like the reactions of the judges seem very rushed.
I think a lot of this entire arc seems very rushed to me. I've just sort of accepted it.
Okay, Jonah, you might have a point that we're going to be told how exactly the results came about in a flashback, the next chapter. But why? What's the point? Stylistically, there's no reason for it, as there was not much reason with Megishima's motivation flashback that we've seen recently. I really wanted to connect emotionally with Kuga. I really wanted to see the cooking giants such as Megishima and Rindo duel. I wanted to see more of Subaru's shenanigans, but we just haven't been given enough time. And I think this way of presenting the results is kind of fairy tale-ish in a way to me. We have the payoff, but we don't have enough of the build-up for it to really matter, for me to connect with it.
I completely disagree.
Yeah, because the build-up has been the whole match coming before this.
Yeah, there's been a lot of build-up, and it's all for that final page. where it's just a flat. It's that panel where we see the building from the outside, and everything's decided, and it's just all that build up, everything you strive to achieve, everything you tried, nothing. We don't even need to show the reactions. We beat you that badly.
If it was the intention, then I suppose I could accept this, but maybe if on the last page this was Kuga instead of Soma, I would I would agree with Graham.
Main character focus syndrome is a bit unfortunate, but yeah.
I don't think this is nearly as bad as I think it might be being made out to be right now. I think it's oddly paced, which is strange because I think we did get so much time devoted to Nene's match.
Yeah.
And some of the other matches that we've seen. So with Ashiki as well. So I think it's oddly paced in that sense. So what I assume we're going to get is some sort of reveal that maybe this match was meant to serve another purpose than just like attempting to take these people out, possibly. But right now,
you mean in universe or
in
universe? I'd say.
Okay.
I thought this entire match was to show how insanely strong Central is after the first round Soma won, and we thought, okay, it's going to be close, and then this round is like, no, you just face the low people.
No, I'm saying in universe, I feel like maybe there's some reason why the rebels might benefit in some way. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like there might be another reveal coming.
Possibly. I can't see it though.
I can't see any benefit either.
Yeah.
But I would just say that I feel like if this was 2 chapters, it might work a little bit better.
Yeah.
Better. I mean, I get it. Pacing wise, maybe it doesn't make as much sense to devote 1 chapter to the tasting of each dish. But I just think if this was moved out just a little bit more, because we don't even see Kuga's dish. Like we see like some of the pieces of sushi. We see the ramen. But we don't even see Kuga's dish. We don't even see Rendo's dish. I'm still not entirely sure what she made.
Yeah, that is disappointing.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even notice, since usually when they go into the cooking explanation and the taste stuff, I just like skim over it and say, okay, so that was good, yeah, skip. I'm not gonna understand any of this stuff anyway.
But it's at least supposed to, the art is at least supposed to convey that wow, the food looks really good and probably tastes really good. I'd like to maybe feel the impact of the dishes a little bit more before we go into the results themselves. But yeah maybe
I think
in a slight flashback later.
Well, the impact of Kuga's dish really hit hard when it was shown. With the reaction, the lady judge. I have not memorized any of the judges' names. I'll admit it. Just tasting it as kind of a part of it already has the powerful reaction shot, and then Kastor still says like it's not complete like that. And well, I don't know how to word this. Food forces him on her mouth or something.
It was
anyway.
No. If we're going with the Tsukasa thing, I like this.
Yeah, I like it too.
He doesn't care about the customer. He cares about the meal. The customer's job is to eat the meal, and it's this show of power. It's the creepy, sexy show of power, but this show of power makes him move from nervous senpai to slightly twisted guy I can see as a villain that doesn't know he's a villain.
Yeah.
Or doesn't care.
Or doesn't care. For this final part of the chapter, I thought it was really well executed. I would agree the first half was rushed, but that's been happening for so long in Food Wars that I kind of just... It doesn't faze me anymore.
I would agree that there have been really some good moments in this chapter. Overall, still leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. So yeah.
Well, shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on to My Hero Academia, chapter 149. So, I actually prepared a little summary for this chapter, and now I don't know where to start. But yeah.
Start at the beginning, and when you get to the end, stop.
Alice in Wonderland.
Well, yeah, but now we're not doing summaries anymore. Okay, so yeah, what did you guys think about this chapter?
I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I really like Toga and Twice, so it was fun to see them.
Oh.
And the insanity is great.
I find the chapter fine, but I don't find Irinaka as interesting a character as I did with Rapper. Okay, so he's a bark louder than bite kind of character archetype, but what else?
Oh, I have no clue what Irinaka is. I think his entire character has been weird and
Wait, is Irinaka the wall guy?
it's changed.
That's the wall guy who was also the little puppet with the plague mask.
Nothing about his characters made sense to me. It seems to have just changed every time it's come up.
I mean, he shouted at the villains a little, but apart from that, how does his character contribute to the story? Otherwise,
It doesn't.
He seems just inserted so that Twice and Toga have something to do, and keep in mind that they were only just revealed to have started working with the Yakuza too, so what's the point of having them there at all? Maybe I'm missing something.
I think the point of having them there is to link the League of Villains into this conflict, and also to show that they're sort of the middle ground here. Not the middle ground, but they're villains, but they're not the same villains as Chizaki.
Yeah, okay.
So
I get that there are some sort of the wild force in this whole conflict, but does it really end? Is there some sort of consequence of them being there?
Well, not yet, but I'm at this point in the story. I wouldn't expect to see the consequence yet. They've only started fucking shit up.
Yeah, but
They've only
also,
just started now.
Yeah.
Plus, I also do like that they do show that League of Villains is somewhat more competent, because so far most of their operations have ended in failure.
Yeah.
They did that Bakugo, and then the police force cracked down on them hard.
Most of
And
it
without
has
all for one, they would have been captured right then and there.
most of it has ended in like, wow, you really boned this one too, didn't you?
Yeah, their main success so far was because the media thought Stain was part of their group. Chizaki tried to upstage him with a Nomu invasion, and it was second page on the newspaper. He was really pissed about it. Not Chizaki, who's hand-faced guy.
Like, hey guys, I destroyed.
Tomura.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I destroyed Shibuya. Yeah, but did you hear about those 3 high schoolers who had a fight in an alleyway?
Did you hear about the Stain guy who's got a blog page?
Remember? They credited that victory to Endeavor.
Yeah.
I know. I just found it funny.
I did love that he wants to be a big hand-faced guy doesn't understand what it is to be a symbol yet, which both he and Deku are learning, and so Stain who had created a symbol of himself, took the credit for that. I really like the dynamic between hand-faced guy and Deku, like the dark reflections of each other.
But maybe we should talk about the chapter itself.
True.
So one moment I really liked is Twice correcting Chisaki after he purposefully misgenders Magne. So yeah.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah, that is kind of nice. That they do show that League of Villains has some loyalties to one another.
I also like that it's when Magna was part of it, it was never outright stated. It was always left to. It was always implied, and it's never been made a big thing of.
Yeah,
It's just been Well,
even
yeah.
here it's not really like put into focus, but it is referred, and it serves
Yeah.
character development for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it shows that Chizaki doesn't care, and it's also I quite like that by misgendering him, he's being portrayed as the uncaring, ignorant one, because that's not a trope you generally see in Japanese media.
Yeah.
But not to get political here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never
Well,
get
well,
political on this podcast. We never ever get political.
Never.
Especially with discussing women's representation in manga. Never. We never do that. We would absolutely. I mean, where would it all end?
Yeah. So,
Hey guys, I'm back. Did I miss anything?
nah.
Yeah, I just got
Nothing
my
important.
senses of- I just got like my what was it called? Yeah, my senses were tingling that there was going to be some social issues, so I instinctively ran away until it was over. Because
Thanks.
I have a policy of I don't give a shit, I'm not getting involved with all of that.
Fair. Here's what I will say though. And this is something that's been my feeling for a while, and it still kind of cements here. Can I just say how much I hate Mimic? I just like to me, his personality is so boring to me. I hate his design. It's just remarkably dull, and even within this chapter, I was just kind of like, well, he's done. Good. Can we move on?
Wait,
I never thought of
who's
it
that?
as more than plot convenience.
I think you mean Double.
What's the wall guy's name?
Yeah, which one are you talking about?
The wall guy.
Oh yeah, him. We all hate
Oh,
him.
okay, yeah.
I'm
We've
not
discussed.
talking
Okay,
about Twice. I
I
love
talking about
Twice. No, I love Twice.
Yeah.
Mimic is the one I hate. Twice is awesome.
Yes.
Wait, why is Irinaka's villain name Mimic?
Uh,
Because I
How
don't.
about we move
I
on to
control
that?
the
We all
walls!
hate
Mimic!
and he should go. Well, he is already arrested, so whatever.
we all hate him, and he's done. Now let's move on to the awesome ending of this chapter.
No, before that, there's one interesting thing I want to mention. I mean,
Mhm.
earlier on, the Yakuza seems to have some means to make both Twice and Toga talk about their quirks.
Yeah.
But- So they have some sort of truth quirk. But afterwards, when they ask if Shigaraki has any plans to betray them, they both say no, even though we pretty much know that's not the case.
Well, I think it's the wording. Shigaraki has no plans to betray them, because we all know the League of Villain doesn't do plans.
I was gonna say it's just general like let's
Except
go.
that in
fuck
last
things up a
chapter, we
plan.
pretty much saw them about to explain a plan.
I
think the plan
presume
was
that
essentially
this
go
is
there.
I presume that this is basically maybe Twice's split personality working there. So the
Yeah, but also
one who
Toga
contradicts.
Toga says it as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I just assumed it's Twice's contradictory personality, just I don't know, wanting to say yes and then say no.
I imagine
but
there's some trick to it,
Toga
and we'll
still
get told
said it,
later.
so we don't know how that works. Kind of interesting. Something to keep in the back of your head.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think that was also how they got accepted so easily. Was that they essentially were made to tell the truth and they passed the test. But we'll find out later how they cheated it.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, the ending.
It was okay. I'm not a great fan of Mirio.
Really? I like the guy.
I like Mirio quite a bit, and to me this is a confrontation that is actually one to look forward to. When you consider Mirio's quirk and Overhaul's quirk, but then also adding the added element of there's another character here whose abilities we don't know, there's Eri, who they're going to have to try and rescue. I think this is an interesting confrontation, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go.
Not
Eri...
yet. Yeah,
Sorry.
you go on first.
Eri has kind of been the driving force of this entire arc, and she's been a very, very good one, in the sense that you sort of forget that she is the reason that all of this is happening, that this is ultimately less of a let's go in there and try and take out the villain group. This is more of a rescue mission, ultimately. And the fact that I think now we're really getting to that, we're not just getting to all the like one-on-one fights the entire time, we're not getting to all the obstacles. Now we're actually at part of the rescue aspect. I say part of it because I'm pretty sure Mirio's not going to pull this one off on his own.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. If he did, I'd be disappointed.
So I'm pretty sure he's not, but I like the fact that the plot has finally gotten to what in my mind was always the reason I was so invested in this arc.
And I really like the way that Mirio's gotten there. And he's got to try and be a hero. After the last time he was with this kid, it was, we can't save her now. The mission's worth more.
Mm-hmm.
And now the mission's to save her. Also, he's drawn really well in the last page. The serious look. Also, his hair starts to look more and more like Frankie's as time goes on.
Also, this is pretty big confrontation because we know that Chizaki was able to take on Rappa, even considering his really powerful quirk, but still getting past his fighting senses and all.
Though to be fair, his quirk is kind of the perfect counterpoint to Chisaki's overhaul. If he can dematerialize on a whim, then when Chisaki wants to dematerialize himself, so yeah, it's kind of useful when you think about it.
Yeah.
But in that case, Mirio is one of the more powerful characters, since they did mention that he was on the level of a pro hero and easily took on the entirety of Class 1A.
Which is why I'm waiting for him to get warped so that Chisaki can look really intimidating.
Well, I doubt he's gonna get warped per se. It's probably gonna be a closer fight.
Possibly. I'd expect him to take out the goons and then Chisaki be able to take him out easily. But hey, we'll have to see.
I wouldn't really need him to take out the goons since we know since he know how powerful he is. But yeah. Either way, whatever happens, I'm looking forward to this confrontation. So, shall we move on to Black Clover?
Do we have to?
Yes.
We kind of do, I think.
Go on then. I'm just going to bring it up. So what did people like about this? I'm going to ask you guys what you liked about this chapter, because it'll be a longer conversation than what if I say what I liked about this chapter.
Okay, so I dig Electra's motivation. Was that his name, or yeah? I think
the
so.
mushroom guy.
No. The bloke who was after Yuno.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Okay, so I like that guy's motivations. So among all knobs who look down on the working class mages, his personality was shown as the most human so far, which is kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I do understand that. Like thinking, I worked really hard to get my leader's attention, and then up comes this new guy, and suddenly he's all chummy with them. Well, all my hard work has got me nothing.
Yeah, this is a really human moment, and Black Clover rarely ever succeeds at human emotions.
And
yeah.
I do still kind of like that diseased guy whose name I can't remember, because I'm pretty sure he's not going to be an important character later.
Oh yeah, the mushroom magic bloke.
Yeah.
I did enjoy him.
His speech is also pretty good. And after that, I just would like to yell at this chapter in my piece. So, if you'll excuse me, I'll place my mic down so you won't hear it all. God damn it! How did you ruin that setup? I mean, come on! You had it perfect! How the fuck did you destroy all that tension?
By being Black Clover?
Oh god.
Okay, I'm back. I
Yeah.
hope you heard that.
So you liked it, right?
Surprisingly well.
Oh God.
Yeah, I would say that this fight is about as basic and boring as every other one shown to us so far in the tournament. Well, I did like the fungus magic bloke. He just had to win me over. There was no way it wouldn't. I mean, the faces and all. I can not smile at that. But Noelle's fight was pretty. So fine, she blasted him with a water spell.
It was fairy tale fight.
It was
That's
a fairy
the
tale
best.
fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
This proves she's strong, which was already kind of proven many times.
Can show she can instantly control her magic. So that's her one character flaw gone.
I mean, if there was some stake to this apart from her supposedly being an underdog, except not really, wouldn't be a little more interesting. I mean, it was still, it was all right, but nothing to write home about.
If this fight had been if that fight had been given its own chapter, I reckon, from what I've seen of the mangaka Black Clover, I reckon that fight would have been quite good.
Yeah, it could have been, but here it was just one blast, fight over.
It was fairy tale.
Yeah.
And
same with Yuno's fight.
Yeah, like I get that we actually have a decent villain motivation in Black Clover now, and I say decent as in a passable villain motivation for a Shonen Jump manga. It has taken us 121 chapters to reach the starting line.
Are you referring to
I mean,
Electra, or are you referring to Salido?
I honestly cannot remember. It was the guy with the decent backstory in this chapter.
Oh, okay,
Well,
okay.
not
Electra.
Salido.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I think.
I'd say that some of the members of Midnight Sun seem to have an interesting backstory, though we only see glimpses of it and get the general gist. I'm
tentative because I think the interesting parts of their backstory are the bits in between what we've been shown that we're kind of assuming. I was into it for a while until I went back and checked exactly what they'd told us and realised that none of the stuff they've actually told us is interesting. What it implies is interesting, but it depends if the stuff it implies actually happened, or if I'm imagining a more interesting story I'd rather be reading.
Yeah,
I'm just sad that this is how it happened, because both of these stories are good. Both of these stories are good. The story with Noelle and Solid is good. The story about this knight who feels that Yuno just kind of showed up and started taking all this glory without the work that he was putting in. Both of these are good. But both of these resolutions are unsatisfying.
Yeah.
In Solid's case, it's far too fast. And just kind of like, well, she immediately took him out. Just doesn't feel very strong. And with the Yuno case, which like, oh my god, he used a spell inside of like the other spell. Can he even do that? It's a question the characters are asking, but it's also what I'm asking as a reader, because the magic in Black Clover is so ill-defined and so general that I don't really understand what the limits are. So when Yuno pushes those limits, and he does this all the time, it's like, he uses two spells at once. He used a spell inside another spell. I'm like, well, you haven't shown me that hasn't worked before.
And he also has Sylph, which apparently ups his wind magic, but I didn't see any change between what he could do before and afterwards.
I think that's because he wanted to show Electra up without her in this chapter.
No, I was talking about before.
Gathered.
I was talking about.
Spoiler: he didn't use Sylph for this one.
Okay.
Yeah, this was just him being the super awesome magic user that everyone should love and who's totally above everyone else. And this guy is a 15-year-old fan fiction character.
This guy's Natsu.
No, at least Natsu has something of drive. This guy is the fiction character who acts like he doesn't put any effort into anything. He's just too cool to care.
Hang on. Is Yuno what everyone remembers Sasuke as?
No.
Well, congratulations,
because
Kastor. You've made the comparison that was made at the beginning of this manga.
No. He's not Sasuke, because Sasuke actually had interesting bits. But the people, when you think about Sasuke, the bits you remember and the bits everyone rags on, the bits everyone joke about, creates this character who could just literally do anything and had no motivation and just did stuff.
Except even Sasuke, I would argue, in several fights, it looked like he had to put in effort. Yuno never gives me that impression. He just does, spell, I win.
Yeah.
Even if Sasuke just pulled up more powers that we didn't know about, it seemed like he was struggling before that part.
I still like Yuno more than Sasuke, basically because he had a few good deadpan jokes here and there at the beginning of this. Well, during the Magic Awards.
I don't. That's because I at least somewhat liked Sasuke at first. I can at least remember times when Sasuke was a half-decent character and he made sense within the cast of Naruto. I've never gotten that with Yuno.
Yeah.
Okay, $1 million question. What is Yuno's motivation?
He wants to be the Wizard King.
No, not his goal. His motivation.
He wants to be the Wizard King.
No. That's a really good question.
Yeah, at least Asta, we know that he just wants to be recognized despite his lack of magic, and figures achieve the highest position there is the best way, but why does Yuno want that?
He was poor, and people shouldn't be poor, and he's going to stop that
I think,
somehow.
No, he's never shown anything like that. He's never said anything to that effect, and that's a really good question.
Has. He just hasn't really. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna give Black Clover the benefit of the doubt and say it's basically rivalry for rivalry's sake. He wants to basically become the Wizard King because Asta does. I don't know if this fits with what was established in the beginning chapters, but I can't remember.
Yeah, most I can say is maybe that's the reason, but that doesn't make him an interesting character in the least.
Yeah, no, I think that's the problem with Yuno. He's just there to be the rival. He has no character beyond it.
Still better than Mitsuki.
Which one's Mitsuki?
That's Orochimaru's son.
He's not better than Mitsuki.
He is.
Mitsuki.
No, he's not.
Mitsuki's just not around. He's actually interesting.
Is he?
Yeah, and there was that one special.
Name one character trait of him. Name one.
He's the straight man. He actually has character traits. He continuously calls out.
That's a role, not a.
Boruto and Sarada on being weird shit.
He's not constantly telling other more interesting characters to go fuck themselves.
Yes. Mitsuki is actually a character. He's the outsider looking in.
Also, we don't pretend that Mitsuki is just as important as our main character.
So true.
Okay, first of all, straight man isn't a character trait, it's a role. Second of all, he's not really a straight man. He isn't reactionary in the same way Nami is.
I think this is turning into an argument about define what straight man is. Because
let's just say all agree that Yuno fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Well,
3-1. Come on over.
Yes, you've won the argument. Congratulations.
Yay, democracy!
Now suddenly I have the bad opinions. Now I'm the Milo of this podcast.
Right. That reminds me. Dr. Stone?
Promised Neverland first, right?
Go on then.
Okay, so okay, this is a really tiny summary. So the kids finally leave the forest and they're in a barren wasteland. Musica tells Emma to look for the 7 walls. Sungtio reveals he actually wants to eat the kids because his diet only lets him eat organic humans. And yeah, at the end of the chapter, the kids arrive at the destination. Well, that escalated quickly.
I only eat organic humans.
Yes, that yeah.
Oh God!
I never.
Hipster demons now.
These farm-raised humans have no interest in me. I like them when they're wild and free. Wild.
Are we gonna have to call this guy hashtag Shunjo or whatever?
Yeah, we should probably mention that. Yeah, yesterday me and Dr. Nova played Pokemon Brick Bronze, I think, and yes, we named our main character hashtag Ray.
Oh
dear.
God!
Because he has the hair that's like just covering one eye, and he's got like the black like band member outfit, and I was like, oh, this is perfect.
And
I'm not sure I
and the
want to
first
see this anymore.
and the first time I tried to name my character, all that would come out was hashtag. So yeah, so it fit perfectly.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think about the chapter?
I've got a feeling Kayoshiro might be in the same position as Tsukuda right now. She's being told to move things along, and I don't think it's working well. I can't connect to any one of these characters. The kids are an interchangeable hive mind that finish each other's thoughts. Ray mellowing down resulted in nothing interesting, and Sungseo seems to have a speck of an interesting character concept, but his motivations and actions are a little unclear, and now we're reaching what we thought was our long-term goal, so yay?
I would disagree with you, since I think Sungjo is really to be very interesting, since he seems to be more of the I'll manipulate them to my own ends character. And it also hints at this promise stuff, like, it seems he wants them to break promise, like, if humans escape, like, you take any humans that belong to us, we're allowed to start eating you again, or something like that. It hints at future and leaves you speculating. So I think he's gotten really interesting this chapter. But then we also got Musica as the wild card that might also let them escape and gives the hope of a happy ending.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting idea. The idea of just like there are the demons are helping them not because they like, yes, they were right in the sense that they don't like the modern world, but not for any better for the humans. They just miss the way things used to be, essentially.
Yeah.
Also, something interesting, since Sungju implies he has eaten humans before who were obviously wild if he's religious like that. So, how old are these demons? How long can they live? Since we know it's been long ago, they never gave any real year. But presumably dozens of years, maybe hundreds.
I sort of saw that as a spark that he had met other humans that had escaped or such. Like, these kids weren't the first ones.
Yeah, but even if they had escaped, he still couldn't eat them because he even doesn't eat these kids.
I was thinking, like, our second generation okay? How far down the food? How many generations of kids do you have to go through before you can say they're organic and put the price up?
In this chapter, he pretty much said the children of these escapees. Though I presume he's showing more generations. He figures it's better to let them breed a little so they don't die out right away.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm trying to find stuff to care about in this chapter. My conclusion on Promised Neverland is that it should have finished with the escape from Gracefield House. I really haven't cared much for any of this stuff. I'm interested in the far future because that seems like a cool place to get to, but I don't care about any of these kids. I'm repeating myself from what I said last time. I don't really care much for Promised Neverland at the moment.
Yeah, but basically the issue still is we don't really have anyone from the main cast to connect to at the moment. So apart from maybe Emma.
And there's no real plot to be interested in.
Well, guess I'm the only one here who still likes this series.
What I'm fascinated. Which bits do you currently like about it? Because I want to know. If I can find a way to enjoy this series, I really want to find it.
Well, for example, in this chapter, it's the whole hinting at what this promise is and how Shangju wants to possibly break the promise. And it's just leave me speculating, like, what exactly was the promise? How would they break it? What kind of effect would it have? Like, would it just mean another all-out war?
Well,
Are we gonna get some sort of attempt to avoid breaking it later once they realize what's going on?
I think we've been told that already. I thought, as I understood it, the promise was the agreement between demons and humans that they would live in separate worlds. If these kids escape back into the human world, that could be seen as a breaking of the promise, which collapses the ceasefire, and humans and demons are at each other's throats again.
Yeah, that's the most simple explanation which I have been considering, but I just wonder, is there more to it?
Fair enough then.
Yeah,
it's lost me a bit too much to start debating stuff like that, which could be the difference.
I guess if I liked anyone of the main characters who could solve that riddle, then yeah, it's all coming down to characters for me. If I don't care about the characters, then I'm not gonna care about the story really. But yeah, that's different for people.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're just still thinking like this isn't as good as the beginning, so it isn't good.
I was for a bit, and then I stopped myself and thought, okay, let's look at this section as a whole. Am I interested in this? And unfortunately, the answer was no.
I still want the series to get good, but it's not particularly done well in a wild environment, I would say, because there's less of a chance for psychological warfare.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't not compare the stuff here to the start of the series.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we keep on arguing, or shall we move on to something else?
Jonah, do you have any thoughts?
I think this is all good. I enjoy the motivations of the characters. I've liked these two quite a bit. I like learning more and more about this world. I like Emma and Ray a lot. The other characters are remarkably boring, and I think that's unfortunate because I think there's so much you can do with a cast like this that they've just decided not to. I think you can do a lot with the different personalities of the characters. I think you can do a lot with the ages of the characters.
Yeah.
Just as somebody who works with children so often, there is that interesting difference in personality just from a year apart. And I think there'd be so much that you could explore here that the mangaka doesn't seem particularly interested in. And you guys have made allusions to this before, in the sense that it really just kind of feels like the shepherd's leading sheep. Mm. And I think, though that's fine for Emma and Ray seeing their protective sides, I think these characters would be more interesting if they were less of a commodity and more of actual people who are going to get involved as well. And though I still want to have the faith that we are going to get that, it's been a while now. And we have bits of personality here and there, but not a ton. So what I will say, it's interesting. I'm still looking forward to seeing where it goes. Promised Neverland has done very well in leaving a lot of stuff open, so that as we keep finding things out, I'm going to keep enjoying it. I'm going to keep wanting to see where it goes. But the engagement is nowhere near what it used to be, and that is a pity.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for things to look up, but for now, things are looking down. Look down, don't look him in the eye.
He's singing again. Someone make him stop.
The sun is
I just want to know what this is a transition to.
Hell below.
We are not letting him start. He will sing the entirety of Les Mis.
I joined him. I love Les Mis.
It is great, but
but not with me singing it. All right then. Shall we move over to Dr. Stone?
Yeah. Let's.
So, guys, what do you think about obvious Littlefinger?
I think
I
his introduction was a little bit clumsy. I do like him as this chaos element, since you don't really know if he'll be an ally or an enemy.
Hmm?
And I think he could flip between the two really quickly coming up, since he doesn't care about either side, just what he gets out of it.
Mm. I can see him being a detriment to anyone near him, and it's an interesting character. I want to see what happens. He looks fascinating, but I think the way they set him up as a famous guy from the past, so he comes from a position of power. I can only see him destroying everything around him instead of building.
I wouldn't say destroying, but just taking from those around him without contributing anything.
True.
I'm happy about
I love this guy. I love this guy so much. I love his design. I love his personality. I love the new energy he's bringing in here. I love the fact that he is a reminder of this element that, like, hey, don't forget, Tsukasa's still out there messing stuff up. And
yeah, I agree with you on, since so far Tsukasa has kind of been this forgotten element that, yeah, he's out there somewhere, I don't know. But now there's a tangible threat of what might happen with this guy and Tsukasa.
I'm happy about him being introduced for two reasons. So first, Inagaki is reminding us of Taiju and Yuzuriha, whom the reader might forget about otherwise.
I was wondering where the fuck they were, yes.
And second of all, the introduction of this character is one of the... it is one of the first insights we have of Tsukasa's empire since we have left him. So it makes him an unknown element that keeps us on our toes. But I agree with Grail that his introduction was possibly a little clunky. So firstly, he's just overheard talking about Cola like a complete chump, and then...
Well, I thought that was intentional.
I love that. I'm sorry, I just love that. I just adore the fact that he's just, like, in the corner eating ramen, and that's how we meet him.
I think this might have been the case, but I don't know if it was part of his plan all along. Well, but then he just reveals he's unscrupulous and manipulative, which we obviously know that's how unscrupulous and manipulative people work. So I'm in kind of two minds about Gen, but I like his concept.
I think the introduction, it depends what you perceive his character to be. I think his introduction could be very good if he's the character I think he's going to play, which is he's the very smart force of chaos. If you tell somebody you're unscrupulous and lying, they instantly have to start wondering why you're telling them that. And if the answer is to make them off guard and make them unsure, which they will always convince themselves there's a deeper reason or there's something else.
Yeah, it's kind of like Hiruma, who always was like, hey, we're gonna lie to you now. And that makes them on guard, like, wait, are they gonna lie? I mean, he wouldn't admit it, but maybe he would, thinking we wouldn't believe him, but then maybe he was planning on that too, and oh god, I don't know anything.
Was he lying when he said he was lying? I mean...
Yes, that's literally the question. And it's great, because through this chapter, we get Senku instantly thinking, it's fine, I can take this challenge, I can accept this man into my kingdom of science, and I can use him. And I'm waiting to see that bite him on the arse, because Senku has been shown to be capable, but thinks he's far more capable than he actually is. And I'm looking forward to this challenge playing out for him.
Yeah, and I like that this is more of a mental challenge, since Tsukasa is the physical threat, the kind that you just need to beat down somehow. Whereas this guy is the mentalist, so Senku's gonna have to outthink this guy. And
he's not gonna be able to out-science him. He's gonna have to out-social him. This guy works with people's minds. Senku has been shown to be the king of science, of elements, of inventions, of history. But he's also been shown not to really get people. Because he thinks that he can essentially buy people with science. as he's been doing with this new village, and I'm waiting to see it all fall down around him as he realizes that people don't work on logic.
Yeah, he could introduce a lot of interesting challenges into the series. Yeah, I admit.
Also, they have steel now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Which is honestly a great invention and a major one.
And as we know from Pokemon, that means that they have all other metals too.
But yeah, no, this is
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Yeah, but they
Sorry.
got iron, not steel.
Oh.
You're right. They did make iron. Steel's would be the next step. It's probably going to. It is probably going to turn up later down the line.
Possibly, but they still got a few more flags to go on the road to penicillin.
Yeah. They can need to start down a different tech tree for a while. It's going to give them worthless stuff, but eventually it's going to move into the one they really need.
Well, I wouldn't say worthless, considering there were some pretty useful things on the tech tree, like, let me see, what was in there? I can't remember.
I think the next step's actually electricity.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much use they get out of that in Stone World, where they don't have any devices that use electricity.
They can charge Taiju's smartphone finally.
Yeah,
that would not be a bad idea.
Talking about, so we can have smartphones right now. Yeah, true. We can finally have smartphones. Are you still fucking on that, you goddamn idiot?
But no, scientifically they get electrolysis out of it, which gives them a whole new range of elements to work with. But apart from that, the invention of electricity, I'm waiting to see if they address that. The answer that we've got electricity, but we can't do anything with it because we don't have anything else to go with it. Electricity by itself is kind of useless.
Yeah, unless you can use it to
Charge a smartphone.
Yeah, charge a smartphone or as a weapon against Tsukasa.
I reckon they'll find a way to weaponize it, but
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being more like, hey, here's a static shock to surprise you as we launch our massive iron spear at you.
Yeah.
Unless they make the iron spear and then electrically charge it, because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, they just start making elemental weapons.
They just they don't make science, they just start going steampunk.
Yeah. Also, what I kind of like in this chapter is I think everyone, I think Milo's pointed that out on Twitter. So Sapphire asking Senku, what kind of girl is your type? The kind that can bring me tons of materials for art in making.
Yeah, that's
like that.
That's just what Senku would say.
Yeah. Because Senku doesn't people, and he's just like, yes, I have bought you with this food. You now work for me. It's trade and demand. This is how people work. Just like, nope, they can go away. They can just take your food and leave if they want to. But what? That's not logic.
What was all okay?
Masakiri does work for him with the iron.
Yeah.
What was also nice in this chapter was the kind of cool moment that Kohaku, Ginro, and Kinro got, even though their poses were impossible and kind of impractical for combat.
Like, the silver guy actually has his shit together. The gold guy is putting. I don't think he can actually move that spear. And Kohaku is
he's just trying to
in
show
midair.
off.
Yeah, Kohaku's knife is still moving. He should be the guy should be decapitated in the next scene because she is in the air.
No, it looks to me like the knife is like a few feet off his head, so even if it went forward, it wouldn't hit anything at that angle.
She's just jumped and missed.
Yeah, it only works if she's levitating right now. That's the only way she can be a kind of a threat.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think the gold guy's side will just look like, check out my awesome spear!
Yeah, no, that's what he's done. He's made a cool pose.
He looks like he's doing that useless pose for you use in billiard or snooker. What's the point of this?
It is, yeah. No, looking at this is quite funny now because it's like, yeah, that's a cool action pose. But we see the next second where Kohaku flies into a tree. The guy with the golden spear just keeps on trying to move his spear and punching himself in the head. And the silver guy says, "What the fuck are you two doing? Stand on the rock like a normal person."
Even so, he's standing on a rock. The silver guy is standing on a rock, and he also looks like he's about to fall. Either that, or he's really putting a lot of pressure on his left leg.
Yeah.
It would probably be funny to see the next panel where they're all failing miserably.
Yeah, no, sorry, that was great. No, because they're doing it later on as well. Okay, a couple of pages later, Golden Spear guy is still doing the same pose, but they've moved from the rocky area. I think he's stuck like that.
No, he just wants to keep that pose so the guy will think he's cool in any place they are.
No, I meant to do this. Do you want a hand? You seem to can't get your spear out of the way. No, I meant to do this, guys.
And then there's a small background joke of the silver guy does finally eat the ramen, so he gets chopped by Ginro.
Aww.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that first time reading. Just now when I was browsing the chapter, I did notice it. So it was just a little background thing.
Yeah.
And even in the next panel, he still has the triple head bump.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. The thing they made is cool. I don't think it's possible to make without rubber, but it looks cool.
So, shall we move on to Boruto?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. I'm glad we're not doing the recaps of this. I forgot there was a new chapter out.
Either way, it.
Someone else.
Either way,
take it.
Gray was supposed to do it, so yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Because
yeah, I was supposed to do it, but are we still doing recaps? Because last few we haven't.
Yeah. So I may be quiet for this one because I'm going to be reading the chapter now.
Okay.
Well, guess I'll just make the recap really quick then.
Yeah.
So, starting off, the big guy still isn't down, but Boruto figures he's probably still weak, so he's not going to be able to reflect this, and goes for the finishing blow. But this time, the mark on his hand after defeating that god guy from the movie, whose name I did not care to remember because he really wasn't all that interesting.
Yeah.
Now the mark somehow spreads a little, so that he just seems to collapse in pain or something. He does not pain, yeah, but he doesn't have any strength, he said.
Cursed seal much?
The fat guy does seem to recognize it somehow, but figures like, okay, this kid still doesn't know anything about it, so I can just kill him. But then Mitsuki comes in with his stretchy arms, and then Sarada gives the finishing blow. Because, as we know, she has the Sakura strength technique and probably just broke the guy's every rib.
Yeah.
Wait, he's aiming at the neck. Yeah, that guy should... Well, I mean, there's a lot of fat shielding it, so maybe he survived with that.
Yeah.
And there is a nice scene where they figure, like, they both say, like, yeah, we were gonna go there, but we figured you'd probably need some help. We were really worried. It shows that they care about one another.
Figured you might have
Mitsuki
fucked this one up
has
too.
Some good tracking skills with some snake he has that has scent.
Still no character traits.
I don't know how well snakes can track someone by scent, but I'm not a biologist, so I'm not gonna call anything on that.
They can do it quite well. It's when they flick their tongue in the air. That's what they're doing.
Okay.
I also love on the next page. It's essentially we'll pay us back by taking us to Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, these were fine overall. I guess I have no issue with them.
Well, I mean, I'm not done yet. Then there's also the...
I was confused because we had the giant paws. I was like, are we gonna keep going?
well, I just thought there was gonna be more explanation of that, but yeah. Then there showed up at Konohamaru's office. Like, he does mention both that, yeah, it's good that you rescued him, but you abandoned the mission that you were supposed to go on. So, I'm gonna go over this since it's a complex situation, but you're still probably gonna get punished for this. And Boruto does make a decent gesture that he acted on his own. He should be anyone who's punished. But they've acted as a team, so they take collective responsibility. The rest of it is just the daimyo being all grateful for Tento, and Boruto still returns that card. And let me ask, did anyone ever think it was any other card than what it's revealed to be later?
Oh, who could have seen that coming? I was completely flabbergasted. I don't know how my heart can take it.
I was really disappointed it wasn't 10-10, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Also, Sarada buys some trading cards. One of whom is Orochimaru, and Mitsuki does seem to know a lot since he now tells them that, yeah, that's my dad.
I do love that Orochimaru's just kind of being forgiven for stealing children.
Well,
it really
he's
is the equivalent of just like
he's made into a trading card.
It's the equivalent of like if we had like trading cards of famous like public figures, and then there's just one of Charles Manson. It's like, why the fuck does this guy have a trading card? He's a murderer.
I'm really, really hoping like it's like a Pokemon card where they have attacks, and like the bottom one is Steel Child.
Well, maybe it's something like there was a huge outrage about like, we only got 2 of the 3 legendary ninja. We demand the whole set.
His final attack is murder the 3rd Hokage.
Well, that's not really fair since the 3rd killed himself with that.
I know, but it's still his fault.
His final attack is make everyone forgive you, which automatically wins you the game.
Yeah. And then we see Tento talking so that, yeah, the card was Uchiha Sasuke. It's nice enough, but you saw this coming a mile away. But the chapter's not over yet, because now they're gonna question him about few things. I mean, the fat guy. And, of course, you know who's gonna be questioning him. Was that guy named Ibuki?
Yeah.
Oh, it is him!
And Sai.
Well, you can tell from the scarring. Yeah, and Sai. But yeah, we know that this guy probably could do a lot of bad shit because we know he is the torture expert. But he doesn't have to because Sasuke enters the picture. And it kind of is true that he does say, like, anyone who works in the underworld would know who I am. And you would know full well what I could do to you. So how about you just speak now and save us all some time? Because you're gonna speak anyway.
I did like that. This is like, hey, so you're in the underworld. You know me. I am the underworld.
Well, and he said, like, exactly how far I'm willing to go. Like, I was willing to destroy an entire village because of something that my brother did.
I could stab you through the chest with lightning, like I did to my friend and wife.
You really think Sasuke would let this guy off so easy?
I did some really, really like extensive shit for really, really menial reasons. You've pissed me off. Imagine what I can do to you.
Yeah, but the guy really does not seem to know a whole lot. Like, he just knows, like, he doesn't remember where he was. It was just some suspicious guys in black robes. He didn't know how many or who exactly they were, but he did see, among the seals that were on the wall, he saw one that really does resemble, like, the one Boruto had. And the group name is Kara, which is apparently translated to shell or husk. And they don't seem to recognize that name.
It did tickle me slightly that they're fighting the essentially the legend of Kara, and the main villain looks like a Mon.
A little bit, but yeah, we also see them meet in some really weird location.
What the fuck is this? They're meeting in an Escher painting.
Well, I mean, we did have Akatsuki's meeting in the whole dark shadow chamber, so
With the
It
fingers.
plays,
and all.
it's definitely different.
Well, it's I guess it must
No,
be
we're teasing at
Kaguya's
what's
cube
coming.
dimension.
If that's what it is, that's great.
oh god, that would be awesome.
It's like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm getting out here. No, don't use that door. Ah! Fucking acid dimension every time.
Yeah, like having just skimmed through this, it made the rest of the arc a lot better.
Yeah, I think, despite my snark, this was a serviceable chapter. Like,
Yeah,
if this was like this all the time, I would keep reading Boruto because it's enjoyable.
yeah. This was good. This was actually really good. It surprised me as I was going through it. I was waiting for it to fuck up, and it didn't.
Yeah, it was good, but I love lots of little moments, such as Sai taking Ino's surname. I really like that bit.
Did Sai have a surname?
No, he didn't, and
I like that.
Sai wasn't actually his real name. So yeah, and then
Yeah, but I'm guessing he just took that as his name since everyone was already calling him that. So getting them to call him something else might be.
Yeah. There's
I like that. That's nice. I did not notice that. That's really nice.
and it's also a way to keep the Ino Shikacho combo running. So yeah.
Despite the kids not wanting to do it.
Though I've got a question for you. So what's the point of saying that organization, which the fat guy does, if you're just going to reveal its name later on in the chapter? Kind of beats the point.
Because Japan has some weird complex about saying things that way.
I mean,
I think it's more a natural turn of phrase in Japan.
yeah, I guess so,
Yeah.
but it's kind of.
But here's the thing: when they are revealed, and they have that kind of like they refer to themselves as Kara, the husk. Am I the only one who read that panel, like the picture there, being just like, "All right, guys, here are all the symbol ideas. Which one do you want to use for our evil organization?"
I love that they're at a blackboard. They're either in a school or they've got a blackboard from somewhere and they just pin stuff to it. It's like, okay, guys.
And I like to think they're going through. It's like, okay, this one's good. This one's good. Okay, who the fuck just put 3 dots here? Come on, guys.
Who fucked up the pentagram?
This one's just a recipe for olive loaf. Fuck off.
Yes, I love those. Possibly the receipts from the marketing companies that gave them the logos.
Yeah, I haven't
my
paid
cat
for this
called
one, but
555.
Yeah, and then just like, Joe, we're not making the centigram from Full Metal Alchemist be our symbol. Just drop it.
I would have loved to have seen that, like an entire blackboard, and a couple of them are just other people's symbols.
Like, look, we're in dark cloaks and hoods. We're lame, but we're not that lame.
Honestly, these people look cooler than the Akatsuki than the Akatsuki when they were first introduced.
Do they?
I don't think they do. Cause
Yeah,
we
me
see
neither, because the black cloaks with hoods are just so generic. At least Akatsuki had some more decorative cloaks.
Yeah, they,
Yeah, and
they
so-
had a nice,
and we
cool
see
pattern.
some-
So.
We see some of the people. We see William Vengeance from Bleach, some big guy with a beard, and just, I think, a corpse that's just been propped up.
William Vengeance, isn't
From
he
Black
from
Clover.
Black Clover? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What the fuck? Valkyrie. What's his face?
Gerard
Valkyrie, yeah.
Gerard Valkyrie, thank you.
I mean, I'd missed the corpse first time, actually. But, okay, the Black Cloaks... You remember when we first saw was it the first time we saw the Akatsuki where it was just like, here are a load of eyes in the darkness?
I can't remember it, honestly. The first I remember about them was just when not Itachi. Yes, Itachi.
Yeah, I think Itachi was in the cloak when they
his
found him.
partner, the shark guy, whose name I've forgotten, were walking into the
He's something.
village.
Yeah, that was definitely cooler. But the first time we saw the entire group, I think I prefer this one.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that there's one guy who clearly has stolen like Rock Lee's leg warmers.
Yes.
This is like, I want these now.
If the twist is it's Rock Lee and he's complaining he never got any character development, this is my favorite series.
Oh, that would be the lamest thing, though. It's like, I have no character development, so I'm gonna join like the less colorful Akatsuki.
Oh, kill
Well,
you
I
to
mean,
death.
I think it's unfair to judge them yet, since we're just literally getting the first glimpse of them.
I'm just giving them the. I know, but even in the glimpse, I'm just saying like I've seen like 4 out of 6 of these people, and neither of them are exactly like, oh my god. Design-wise, there's a dude with a mask and a guy with like a I don't know what it is, if it's like a triangle tattoo or if that's his goatee.
No, I think that's part. Wait, you mean the one sitting down?
Yeah, I
That's
assume
part
it's
of the
not.
mask that's shown on the
Yeah.
page before. It's a square on his chin.
That's the, I know it's a square. I like to think it's a goatee. I know it's not, but I
A
really.
really terrible
Actually, it's hard
goatee.
to tell if he's wearing a mask or if that's just his skin.
I don't think he's wearing a mask because
I thought it was the mask because it looks like there's like a built-up area around the eyes.
that could just be the art style.
Very well could
It's
be.
kind of hard to because he doesn't really have any eyebrows, so it's hard to tell.
Mm.
Yeah, but he would just be some weird-looking dude, considering the fat guy was really weird-looking dude, and he was still not wearing a mask or suit.
The guy with the beard looks like he's walked out of Game of Thrones. I can't not see that corpse guy anymore. That's really that's really funny.
It's like
I,
just
Well,
a dude.
I'm kind of
If we're Yep.
kind of just to harp on the art style a little. I've got a big problem with this one panel where Sarada and Mitsuki defeat the fat bloke. So Sarada on that half-page spread, Sarada is that in that position that Linkara always mentions when discussing Liefeld comics, isn't she? The one where she's supposed to show off both her chest and her bottom. But you know, she's
Yeah,
fucking
sure,
12 and it's bloody creepy.
Yeah, and she's drawn. I go on about it a lot, but it's not just me in this one that she doesn't look 12. She looks like a bobblehead doll.
Okay, so everyone looks 12 apart from Sarada to you, Kastor.
She looks younger, yes. I don't like the Sarada design. I preferred it in the Scarlet Spring.
Yeah, the special.
She looked normal.
Yeah.
I've said everything I think I can possibly say about Sarada's redesign at this point, so I think I'll just chill.
Yeah, I think I'm not gonna get involved in this one.
No.
Yeah, which is a shame because I really like her character. She's really cool.
Well,
one more.
anyone else have anything else to say on Boruto?
Yes. One more thing I didn't like during my first read through was that that we didn't really know anything about the B rank mission apart from it being a B rank mission, did we?
Yeah, no, I've
Yeah,
just
we
realized
never
that.
did.
Yeah, so maybe I would be a little more invested in Team Konohamaru abandoning it if it was set up earlier. Maybe this could set up consequences that would be revealed in a later arc, but nope. The world centers around Boruto, and it doesn't really seem like a real mission, but just
A
like kind of a device to get things going.
Yeah.
And the world centering around Boruto, and all that really matters is what happens to him. So there isn't really a lot of background to his adventures. I would even find Black Clover a little better at world building than Boruto is.
Oh no, I completely agree. Boruto, unfortunately, is the author has to be compared to Kishimoto all the time, but it's literally borrowing a universe. It's an established universe. He can just it feels like fan fiction a lot of the time.
It never feels like a real world, which a good fan fiction should get the feeling of the original.
Oh, I never said it was a good fan fiction.
No.
Oh, so you don't like Boruto?
I don't mind it. I find it inoffensive, and this chapter was good. I did not like the last one.
This isn't a good fan fiction. There's no Alison Kurokiba in this at all.
Oh, Nami and Usopp,
All
yeah.
fan fiction must contain Alice and Kurokiba making out, even if they have no meaning to the story, and the story isn't even anything that would include them.
Where's Osamu? Come on, guys.
He tried to get in, but he still hasn't got out the door because it was too hard, so he went to bed to cry instead.
Oh God.
Oh.
Also, we're still hogging him for our show.
Yeah.
All right, so we never learn.
Yeah, that was still a thing. I forgot completely.
I never
I'll say
actually
that's
read
up
it
to Webtoon.
because I still don't have we still don't have the access to Shonen Jump over here in Poland and in Grail's country. So
Finland.
I suppose it'll be just you talking about it.
Which was why we were thinking we might leave it till Hoven's back next week.
Mm.
Or if you want to discuss it now, then that's fair.
But it
No,
might
I
just
have nothing to say on this. So.
Okay,
I
we
haven't
never
been able to
learn.
read it, so can't really say anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
we never learn.
do
that's all we need to
you
say.
want to invent
Next
a chapter?
chapter.
Sorry.
That's all we can say.
Okay then, so that is gonna do it for this week of Stammer Stream. Thank you for watching, either on my YouTube channel or live at twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. We usually try to record on Tuesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time, 5 PM GMT and 6 PM GMT +1. You can follow me on Twitter at WensleyCheddar for updates on the stream, on Panganta, Friendly Faces Everywhere, if he reviews many other projects. Follow Dr. Nova at Jonah Left Snow for his Choose Your Own Adventure game, the link to which you can find in the description below. Follow our special guest, Grail9 at Nuclear Android for gaming tweets and stuff. And follow Kastor at Kastor UK for his Guilty Crown podcast, audio logs, whatever you call it. I'm not sure whether he's actually going to write about it on Twitter, but you can follow him anyway. Isn't that right, Kastor? Kastor? Okay.
Aww.
Okay, I think we lost him. Alright then.
Oh well.
Be sure to visit our One Piece RP forum, One Dream Adventure Reborn, to write some lovely stories with us and talk about manga in general. odar.comforums.com is the address. The reviews, I'm working on some of them, so the process is going all right.
And now that I'm back as well, I'll try to push out as many reviews as I can too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I'm also working on mine. Got about halfway done.
Yeah, so they will be out. They will be coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is there anything you guys want to mention, or shall we end?
Let
I'm
us
good.
End.
Yeah.
Theme song.
Do you hear the people singing the... okay, never mind then. Alright then. Once again, cheers for watching, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. And next week it will be one day more.
One day more to revolution. We will nip it in the
God damn it, stop skipping over the song.
Okay. and I still don't know if we finished, because it still says stop recording. So